Well, today's a sad day uh, l- for justice, for real liberalism. Uh, I just found out that the Infowars is going to be shut down by the Democratic judges. So justice has not been served. However, there's still the Alex Jones network, which you can get all your information from. And I believe Alex Jones will probably be making that the home base and making his empire larger. And I think a lot more people will tune in. And everybody should tune in because that's where you get the real information. That's where you sift through, like, for example, the Charlie Kirk uh, Democrat assassination, where many people are saying it's Israel, many people are saying, and you go to Alex Jones because he brings down the people who will actually break down all the little components and will tell you the truth once all the information comes out. But in my opinion, it was an assassination, it was a conspiracy. Uh, the bullet that, or the gun that was used, would have caused a large entrance and or exit wound, just like a Kennedy assassination. So it was some sort of other bullet. And of course, all the security was fairly new and maybe hired by a deep state individual. Maybe the first name starts with an O. I don't know. Or actually, the first name starts with a B, the last name starts with an O, because he did want a domestic army larger than the military and police back in 2010. And his co-coordinator of anarchy, Bill Ayers, which was part of the Chicago Seven, who killed so many police officers in the 70s and 80s, was thrown in jail and released by, I think it was Barack Obama or Bill Gates. Not Bill Gates, Bill Clinton. So if you look at the security, they're basically going around like an NFL offensive play. Everybody knew exactly where to go. Everybody knew where to turn the corner, where to start taking pictures from the corner of an overpass, from beside the car that Charlie Kirk was taking away. And they needed to kill Charlie Kirk because by 2032 he would have been the next president of the United States. He was bringing everybody back to Christianity, back to God, back to wholesomeness. He was bridging the gap between Democrats and liberals. He would have been the perfect president because he would have been doing more for the liberal movement, for the freedom movement than Donald Trump. So Israel was involved, like the JFK assassination. There's many different components. Like they said in the movie, do you think that the mafia would have been able to change the parade route? Do you think the mafia would have been able to hire multiple guns? Do you think the mafia would be able to hide information from the Warren Commission, or have a Warren Commission made up by people who are enemies of John F. Kennedy? No, that has to be the deep state, the CIA, the FBI, the left behind networks from Bush, Obama, and Clinton. Those are the people with the help of George Soros to kill. And of course, you have Israel little components within that, like uh, based on the last name of the person who has his pants fallen down, saying that he shot Charlie Kirk, Zinn. That, and I didn't investigate him, but that is could be a Jewish name, so that could be connected to Israel, and also the one of the head people of the One American Network, whatever the network is, was one of his rights. Charlie Kirk's right hand man was an Israeli operative. So it's a combination of many things, but primarily it's a deep state with little pieces of Israel in there, because Charlie Kirk was with Israel, but he was not again. He didn't like the what Netanyahu was doing, so he didn't like basically the current prime minister, the president of the regime. He probably wanted an overturn of the government to put in a proper uh, freedom caucus type of person in Israel to get peace within the Middle East. Now, as I said, they've been trying to go after Alex Jones since basically that. And then the whole not Columbine, Sandy Hook, where Alex Jones initially said that there was actors, but then he apologized. But then it was kiboshed for such a long time until Donald Trump became president and Hillary Clinton, with the massive help from Alex Jones, wasn't elected. So Hillary Clinton had to find 7 ways from Sunday to get rid of Alex Jones. So they finally did on InfoWars, but Alex Jones will come back fighting stronger than ever within the Alex Jones Network. Now, additionally, I would say that Trump is performing at an 85, 80 percentile with a 25 to 20, 15 to 20 percentile on the negative. And that pertains to, of course, the Ukraine-Russia situation and the Israel situation. But he has turned a little bit again away from what he stated, what he wanted to do with Gaza, where it seems like he wants to gear towards more equality, peace between the two groups, and stay away from what Netanyahu wants. Now, with the Ukrainian situation, I honestly think that Trump is actually keeping his enemies closer with Zelensky, and he's just stating these things of giving weapons, which is kind of scary, but to try and get Putin to kind of come to the table, which I think in the long run, everybody will come to the table and there will be some sort of militarized zone in Ukraine. Now, pertaining to what's happening in Canada, I'm not following it that much. However, I do watch Moose on the Loose, which is a very good, informative YouTube channel to inform you what's happening in Canada. But what Chili Con Carne is doing with, he's probably bringing in the sesame seed credit that they did from China, and going to really crack down on the internet, on everything, and have total control, basically 1984 style media, worse than what True Castro was doing, where True Castro gave $8 billion to mainstream media. Now Chili Con Carne will give probably that and more, and at the same time implement this massive internet censorship, which will connect to your basically blockchain that they want to introduce, which will connect to your social score, which will then connect to your way of life. That's why we need to have again another election, and this time Pierre Poilievre has to rethink how he wants to introduce himself. He should do more podcasts, grassroots, to demonstrate, to illustrate what Chili Con Carne is doing and how he is connected to, in a way, Donald Trump with the companies. And that's why Trump will not make a deal with Chili Con Carne, because Trump is making tons of money off Chili Con Carne. So if you put Pierre Poilievre in there, he is actually a person who's against Donald Trump. And he wants to make Canada great again by focusing on what Canada can provide to the rest of the world. Natural resources, primarily, and basically decriminalize the cheese and poultry and actually make it equality across Canada. So you have multiple companies and multiple farms that will be able to sell these things to Canada to reduce the prices. And I think that in pertaining to what's happened to the churches, I am Jewish, but I feel bad because as a Jewish person and as a capitalist, a true capitalist, not a crony capitalist, I know that our country and the American country is based on the King James Bible, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, our Charter of Rights, the Bill of Rights is run by law by backed by the King James Bible, and our country is built on Christianity values, Judo Christianity, but primarily Christianity values. And if Jewish schools and Muslim schools can have police around, I think that every Christian school should have one police officer surrounding and monitoring the area. And for large high schools, they should have a little precinct outside the school with a mobile police unit with 2 or 3 police officers. Because I think there's a massive genocide against Christianity, a massive destruction of Christianity and Christianity values, burning up churches, shooting down schools, shooting down churches. And you don't see that around North America regarding temples and mosques. It's only focusing on Christian values, because Christianity is sad to say, for all the Jewish people and the Muslim people, Christianity is the only religion that actually allows for freedom, allows for equal women and men rights, allows for freedom of thought, while Judaism and Islam actually controls more the mind of the individual and actually has segregation between men and women. So what we need to do is stand up for Christian values, Christianity, and this will lead to true capitalism, not crony capitalism, which everybody will prosper, from the poor to the rich, and even the filthy rich will prosper from that. Bring back 1950s and 60s society with our inclusion, our melting pot of today. Because as I always state to everybody, racism is a construct of the establishment. The establishment creates the racism, because any child looking at another child, they don't look at their color of their skin or what they look like. They look at a person that they can play with and that they can bond with. They don't care what they are. And if they're playing on their bike, or they're playing basketball, they're playing with hockey, if they're playing with toys, if they're playing tag, they don't care what they are. That's why it is a construct of our society, and is actually pushed by the liberal government and the neo-Republicans and neocons to make segregation and between people so we can fight. Let's not be like the Middle Eastern states, where from grassroots they educate that Jews hate Muslims and vice versa. Let's start with educating our children that everybody's the same. Like Martin Luther King says, you only base it on how you are, how you act towards people, not the color of your skin, not your creed. It's how you are as a person. And if you believe in God, and you believe in the ideas of what God and Jesus Christ is teaching, then you'll be a better person. You will not have envy. You will have empathy. You'll have kindness. You'll have love for people. And you want humanity to prosper. If that person is doing better than you, be happy for them. And then make yourself wanting to get to that point, to work harder to get to that point. Because that person got to that point because they worked hard. Canada 1776.